Get out. Bugging me now. Get out. Bugging me now. Alrighty, looks like we're live. I need to fix. It's like freaking Max Headroom over here. Cha cha cha. All right, let me minimize this madness. Close this stuff. There we go. I had to get rid of some things that were running and causing some lag, and it just irritate the piss out of me during the show. Okay, so welcome to SEO This Week, episode 160, everybody. As you can see or tell, I'm changed the show to Mondays. Mondays at 2. The reason I'm doing that is just, it seems like an easier day for me. And there's a lot of other shows competing, et cetera, going on that may you guys might want to watch or whatever, and I figure Monday's a good day to do things, you know what I mean? So we're going to run with Mondays. I figure Monday's and see how she handles. And I just tested the sound and stuff, so I appreciate it. If everyone can hear me, just let me know. And I think we're going to be good to go. All right. So with that, I think the number one thing to talk about today is Google announced that core update. As many of you know, they just started doing that. What was the first one they announced? January, I think, was the first January one that they announced. Well, now we got the May core update. And they announced it on their blog. I'm trying to bring it up here. Bring up a Barry Schwartz thing too, I guess. You can get it up through his 500 freaking pop-ups. Oh, you fucking... Pardon me. There we go. Jeez. All right. Hopefully you guys can see my screen now. So anyway, they announced it through their blog. And this isn't the one. I don't know why they did that, why they would link to it. But here it is on Twitter. It's called the May 2020 Core Update. There's some things that you probably know or don't know, depending on if you watch this show or you watch SEO Fight Club. Is Ted's been tracking the changes since the beginning to like 27 days now, so the beginning ish of April. His algorithm checking system has kind of picked up changes in the algorithm being pushed out and stuff, and the theory behind that would be that they were testing. They made all the changes, and they were testing the changes throughout April, and then now they're going to roll it out to everybody, which could be a good indication of the accuracy of Ted's tool. At least insofar as you can kind of see in advance a little bit of what's going on. He has his own little show on Monday mornings, I believe it is. It's kind of like his little algo update show. If you look at the SEO Fight Club channel, I believe you can see it in there. And at the end of the day, my recommendations are, if you saw some positives and stuff all through April, I think you're going to be okay. You got nothing to worry about. Whereas if you saw a bunch of negatives and stuff, you might have a little bit of issues you got to deal with. But you should already know about those in advance now, considering that the changes that Google is applying are already, for lack of better purposes, they're already out there. So they're just announcing it. So I guess you can't give it a name. I don't know what. we're creative, so it's May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you is what Google's saying to you guys right now with their algo update. If you like that little pun, or my weak idea of a pun, anyway. Okay, so with that, let's get on to the news stories that I picked out, and you can see this is for later. The first one is I don't know if you guys know Ben Collins, but he's got an email list. What he does is, and some courses, but primarily his email list is pretty awesome. And that's if you're into Google Sheets, a bunch of tips and tricks that kind of leverage that. Now, if you're an Excel person and you migrated over to Sheets, and some of the stuff is very good, but if you're brand new to it, there's some cool little things you can do with it and leverage inside of the Sheets. And this email list was mailing out one tip a day, and typically what I was doing is saving them, but he was nice enough to actually make a document online. You click the link and it goes straight to the document, not the PDF version, but these are web documents with all 100 tips in there. If you want that. If you want the PDF version, I recommend you just sign up to his email list. Maybe you'll get the direct link to it. If not, sign up to his list and then ask him for it. But that's really worth it. I've learned some cool little tricks and things to play with the data and stuff to show it off to clients using that. And I have one of his courses on API integration that was really good too. So that's good. This one's a case study. It's over at the Moz blog, and it's a little deceiving. So it's a single page for 2.6 thousand keywords with 30,000 monthly searches brought into it. Here's a caveat that is for the ADT website, ADT.com, I believe, is the website. So there is it's a big brand. A big brand with authority inside of Google that is doing this, that is achieving this. So will you, as a mom and pop, or me as an SEO blogger, get that kind of traffic from it? This concept, I doubt it. Or even a local business, you got no chance in hell you're going to get 30,000 for doing this. But there are some opportunities for you to kind of leverage what they did. And essentially, if you see this little map here that's in the thumbnail, they made a map that's interactive, and you can click through it, and it's kind of like an infographic, but it's nice, good link bait. And you see that link bait resulted in the keywords and the extra traffic. So think about some opportunities where you can leverage some of the features that are available to us in like a Google developers, Google Maps, and there's a few other websites that will take this data for you and turn it into a clickable map that you can embed and stuff, and try that out if it's, if it's relevant for you. So, for example, let's say you're into lead generation and you're doing water restoration, water mold cleanup, water restoration, water damage resto, and all that kind of stuff. And you only service a small area. You can actually, these are the areas that were hit by the storm, and click on that. There's how many houses, that, et cetera, that kind of information, and turn that into a little bit of clickbait for some people that may or may not be interested. But I would try it out. This one is how Bing's image and video algorithm works. This goes over some different things inside of it. Mainly one is the image recognition. So what is the image? Does the image have any text in it? What does it say? Same with the videos. And then CTR and a few other things are in it are pretty cool. It's, a lot of people have no interest in Bing. All the traffic comes from Google. Well, that means that most of your competition is not even bothering with Bing and not even worrying about it. So you're leaving, even though it's 4%, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on the thing you're looking for. But 4% of everybody in the planet is still pretty good, I would think, right? Our overall searches. So it's valuable to test it out. And if you generate some traffic on Bing and you're getting good traffic on Bing, Google tends to take notice of that and actually reward you for some traffic improvements, especially if that traffic's consistent. So look at that and check it out. If you're, especially if you're the image or video ranking type, you might want to be considering leveraging Bing at the same time. Google My Business websites past 36 million created, and why should you care? This one's a decent article. They're using numbers from 2017, so I'm sure 36 million is probably, lower than it is today. But if you look at the data, most of those numbers are actually coming from India. If you're in the SEO space, India making a primary amount of by millions. I think the number was 19 million, if I remember the article correctly. It made sites were made in India where only 2 point something million were made in the United States. So it kind of just tells you in my opinion, it reflects not only population trends, but also reflects a lot of spam that could be going on in there. That said, the article writer made a case for actually creating GMB websites as a small entry level kind of SEO business, as it were. So you can focus just on the map and working on that GMB website and saying, oh, now you have a web presence. Ta-da! You're all good. And you can be the next Google or GoDaddy if you want to, or Wix, versus someone who's not ready for a $3,000 website. That's all fine and good if you're just starting out and you want to provide that nickel and dime services. It's a little bit harder to support those customers. You're not going to see results. It's harder to measure it, but you always have maps to kind of rely on. But for the most part, I kind of think the author's wrong when he's saying that just if you ignore this, these websites are going to be the next big thing for like a Wix or a WordPress.com replacement. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Especially when they got Google sites. Now, maybe they could possibly, I guess in theory, they can mix the Google Sites platform and this GMB websites platform and put those together and turn that into something. But again, I don't see that happening anytime soon. They did announce their quarterly numbers Alphabet made, and Google's part of Alphabet, as you know, made $40 billion in the fourth quarter. So the entire planet is sucking ass right now. Google made $40 billion in the first quarter of the year. So I think they're not hurting, in which case, getting into the cheap website market is probably not something that they're going to be on board with. All right, this one it's a Google search ranker tracker in Sheets, and this is it's a step-by-step tutorial on how to use Sheets. You can also use Data Studio. At the bottom of this thing is Data Studio, and what you do is pull in your information from Search Console, throw it into Sheets or Data Studio, and make yourself a rank tracker. I think this is useful if you plug it all in and keep refreshing it over and again, and you find some good quick win opportunities. Maybe Google's testing your pages for different keywords that you didn't anticipate, etc. You can jump on those in time to boost them up and get a little bit better CTR and stick the rankings permanently. But as you all know, Search Console is it's a big fat turd in my opinion right now. I can't even index pages. You're submitting them and then going into the Search Console SERP database or index, but it's not going into the live index right now. That could be that because the update's going on, they're not pushing stuff from the Search Console index to the live one until the update's all fully deployed. But at the end of the day, that's you wait 2-3 weeks. In some of the markets that we operate in, that can hurt you. So I'm not a really big fan of the new Search Console right now. Let's see. This is the Lighthouse comparison tool. Actually, really what it is, you just run Lighthouse. You get a copy of the report, and then you run another one, and then you can upload both of them into this tool, and it'll tell you the difference. What I think is awesome about that is if you are I'm not a Lighthouse fan because it's good for knowing how a website is operating near me. You know what I mean? This is how it's working for me, but maybe where I'm at is not where my primary customer is at. And so that's why I will always recommend you guys use something like webpagetest.org, so you can mess around with locations of the testing sites and the different instances of what you're using. But that said, if you got a client that just wants to see, and you want to make it a process of reporting, showing your improvements, get all your baseline reports, make Lighthouse one of them. And as you change and progress, you just drop it into this tool and get the output and say, look, this is how your site has changed in parts of Google. And you can kind of do that before and after thing every 30 days if you wanted to. And this tool makes that one little piece a little bit easier. So I think that's pretty neat. Excuse me. All right, and this last post is 40 SEO quick wins you can do within an hour. It's actually a really good list. It's the way it's written out. I think it would be, to me, it'd be great link bait if it was actually a checklist. So I'm going to probably take it and put it into a checklist format and maybe send it out to my email list over at What Ranks. And it's just something that you can do with for quick wins to, get a boost. You can show things that you've done in the first month. And these are all, literally, they're all easy things, but most people, outside of an SEO developer world wouldn't even know them. And most of us, even in SEOs, wouldn't think of all 41 of these. So why not add it into there? You plug in 41 quick tests, you knock them all out, boom, boom, boom. And as your client sees that, you're making progress. And at the same time, these are not just, dumb things that could, just so that you can say you're doing some busy work. They're actually things that have a potential to get some more traffic for you. So that's really cool. So I think that's it. Well, I know that's it for the news. Again, just a quick recap: Google Sheets, tips, a case study on using map infographics, Bing image and video algorithms, Google My Business websites, a rank tracker using Google Sheets or Data Studio and Search Console, Lighthouse comparison tool, and 41 SEO quick wins. All of that was followed the announcement that Google made the core update announcement today, 2 hours ago on the internet. Keeping in mind, Ted was following that using his tool. It's so far as he's kind of 2 for 2 right now. Yeah. So his tool kind of predicted the January thing, showed the spikes, and then the January update came out and the announcement was good. Beginning of April, his tool identified changes that were happening, and now the May core 2020 update is out. As I said, if you haven't seen, I've seen drops and stuff pre this, then you probably have something to worry about. But since they were testing this thing the entire time, and if you get a whole bunch of green arrows, then I would just leave it alone and be the end of it. They're clearly, instead of testing or just releasing and then fixing, now they're testing for a month, which is smart. And I think it's better for us as SEOs too at the same time. So I'd like to hear your opinions on it. Maybe leave that in the comments section. If you are, if you got some changes to your pages that you lost, and then maybe if you get some common denominators, not common guesses, but some common denominators as to, what changed and what didn't. That'll also be pretty interesting to know. There are, I'm not sure that Ted is doing a Sheets roll-up 1-for-1 to see what changed and what didn't. I know that he's got that the shared data built into the core testing tool, and I'm pretty sure he can look and see what went up and down, based off of that shared data. But it's so mixed with different markets, you know what I mean? So it's a little bit harder to say, because we all know that Google can pinpoint specific markets and change the rules for one versus the other. So I'm still working on my bulk tool to do bulk runs so that I can do that process, but do it in market specific thoughts. You know what I mean? So instead of, SEO and plumbers and roofers and affiliate sites and e-com and all those different keywords all slammed in there and saying, this is what it is. I think Quora taught us that we need to focus on a keyword and then put that out again and see what it is. So keyword, plumber in big city, or baby clothes, this type of baby socks versus baby onesies versus baby jumpers, you know what I mean? And put those into one thing and say, okay, this is what that niche is and the changes in there. The problem, I just running into finding good coders. I got the thing is like 90% there, but finding it to someone that I could package it up and send it out to, I can feel confident in sending it out to people that are not going to have a whole bunch of issues trying to figure out how to use the stupid thing. That's kind of where I'm at with that right now. And I got some other stuff in the works too. So we'll see, we'll see. I know I've been promising software forever, but it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? All right. So with that, I wanted to caveat a little bit today and spend the next few minutes going over how to do some schema. And I think a lot of people are interested in schema and stuff like that. And we've talked about making or doing schema manually and applying it to your websites manually versus relying on plugins. And it's easy to say that, but it's a little bit harder to do it. And I thought I would acknowledge that and just come up and show you some ways that I find how to improve stuff. And the reason for that is, if you remember, if you were in SEO spring training, or you're a member of SIA, which you should be, you can find a link in the YouTube description down below. I actually did a presentation and I proved that these basic implementations that Google is looking for and that 99% of the SEO plugins are using is actually doing zero for you in regards to ranking your websites. And I didn't do it just article schema. I proved that pretty much all of them, with the exception of how to and Q&A schema, did absolutely nothing for you. When you're using the defaults here, what Google's looking for, which is what most of those other tools rely on. They rely on the defaults. So I'm going to show you how I take the defaults and turn those into something a little bit better. And then I'll show you how to rip Yoast, which is probably, in my opinion, the closest to the best structure of SEO that you can actually get. So let's take a look at this. As you caveat this is the Google developers, developers.google.com is the article schema. And really, at the end of the day, when you're making your templates, you only need this section right here. This is all fine and dandy, but you only need this section, and you can get started at like that. And you end up with something like this. And you get the main entity page and web page and all that other stuff. This actually looks really good. But if you look over at Yoast.com, and I'm going to go to just one of their blogs. Let's go to blog. We'll use this one. Let's just post it today. We're going to look at their structured data. And we got to find it because it's on this line right here, line 45. I'm going to copy that, and then we're going to come over here. We got to go to another, clean this up. It's written in JavaScript, right? So you got to find something to clean it up. And you put it in there, and it's that whole one line. What are you going to do with it? And there you go. I just cleaned it up. Now you can pretty much read anyone use schema. What I like here is if you look at it, when I taught in SEO spring training, this is the business. This is my business website. This is my business web page. And this is what that web page is all about. And you can see that it's all right there. They did a really good job of breaking it out. And then there's the article part that we need as well. And then the person who's publishing it. So it's all right there. They did it again. They did a great job. The problem is that for most people, even me, is you have a trust issues with thinking that they're going to update and it's not going to break everything, or whatever. And as you all know, Yoast has had the issues. They've all had issues. Rank Math is getting beat up right now because they have some issues that their user base is now catching on to. So I like to do this manually. And then I'm going to just break down this one thing because this is going to be my little template right here. This is the potential actions are all there. I can do the images. I can do all that stuff. And this will be for all of the SEO this week posts. As you remember, I'm fixing this website as part of the course over at What Ranks. And if you want to see how the courses are kind of going to go, you can go sign up at whatranks.com right now and get the Quora course for free. So that's whatranks.com. And you can sign up and get this Quora course for free. Is the caveat: if you sign up for it, you have to collect this the confirmation from Aweber, or the tags don't give you access to it. So that's kind of the one thing you're paying with your email. So if you don't do it, then you're not going to get in the course. If you sign up for it and then you don't click the confirmation email and let me spam you every once in a while, then you're not getting the course for free. So that's just the way it is. But the next course on there will be the on-page SEO and probably the schema at the same time, because what I'm doing is redesigning this whole page or this whole website. Some of the parts you can see here, some of the parts are in here. The homepage is redesigned, but the content is not filled in. So I even still have lorem ipsum stuff in there. Ironically, all the web pages, the location pages are pretty much lorem ipsum too. And they're still ranking, in some cases, number one, or some cases on page one, and in other cases, in more competitive markets, 22 from lorem ipsum, just from the template that I gave the designers and developers to implement. And some of these pages are working. Like I got the page speed optimizations thing working. I don't think I actually have the order page working. Nope. See, so I'm going to go through all that process, and I figure that's probably the best way to teach. That's how I learn, is so that you can go back and you can find the website, et cetera, and see that, I'm not just teaching you a course on a website that I know is going to die, and then I can say, oh, a bunch of people negative SEO'd me. This website's going to be here. So, and that's, and I want to show you what I'm doing with it and how I rank with it. So that's where the course is going. As part of that, I'm going to show you how to get through and write all this schema out. And you saw the number one really good tip right there is just get a template and then start off with something that's not busted hotness. And most of the schema that you're going to find out there right now is just complete busted trash. And Yoast, for all of their talk, has done a really good job. One thing I like about that is that they implemented graph. Now, a lot of people don't know what graph is, but hopefully you can see that highlighted. But basically what that means is you can set up your hierarchy within one thing. So I don't have to write an organization schema. I don't have to write a website schema separately. I don't have to write my image schema separately. You could put it all in there. The downside of graph is that you can mess up these curly brackets pretty easily, and then it stops reading and writing. So you notice there's plenty of instances in there. So, and that kind of gets to be a little scary for a lot of people. Another thing that gets people all the time is the missing comma. Like one comma gone and your schema's broken. And I'm sure a bunch of you have tinkered around with this, and that's probably why most people end up on plugins, is because it's this one comma or this one curly bracket that's missing, that's screwing up with everything, and Google kind of sort of tries to help you out. So that's those are the two big things, really. And now let's get into where to look when you're writing this. always go to schema.org. They're changing, they're updating this stuff every day. And you see that there's things in here already. I'm going to do this so that I can reference both of these at the same time. If you look at this, this is the implementation that Yoast has given us. As you notice some things right off the bat is some of this stuff is already missing, and that's kind of irritating. So some things that are easy, like word count, you can get that if you go into, let me go back, your editor. And there it is right there, word count. I'll let it populate. Looks like 686 is what it said, right? 667. So it's easy to drop word count in there. And all you really got to do is kind of find a place, like look for these, because if you put it inside of there and it doesn't belong, it's going to jack it up. So look for like a break in here. This is kind of how I did it. So there's my keywords. I'm going to look for a blank. There's my headline. That'll be good. And so we're going to do word counts. And don't forget to actually make those right. Make sure it's in the blocks as properly as it said. And then you got your colons, and then your quotation marks is an integer. So what it's looking for is, it's got to be a number. You can't put text, right? So, and it's 667. So that word count will match. Let's look at article section. We're going to do, I'm going to put that, don't forget your comma. And then let's go to article section. Article section. And if you're wondering what editor I was using, it's Sublime. I've tried a whole bunch of them, and I really like Sublime when I'm writing schema. And if you look here, article section can be text, so I don't have to I can just do SEO this week, because it's a section of SEO this week. And then there's one here. Check it out. It says article body. So you're thinking, why do I need to do that? Google's going to read it. Google may or may not read your entire website, depending on the builder you're using, how much stuff is in the head, etc. It'll go down and read a certain amount of the page, and then a Google bot will stop. But if I put my web page or my entire piece of content inside of there, then I'm actually doing a lot better, and I'm doing something that most other people won't do it. But I can't do it like this. If I just copy paste that, I'm going to get all those images and clear all that madness out. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do this, and I want to disable JavaScript, and I want to disable all the styles. And you see, now I can do a little bit better with this, right? Or I can make a whole other version. In this case, I'm just going to do a little bit better with it. So I got keywords, and then in language, and then it goes to potential action. I don't want to do a potential action right now. Let me put this comma back in here while I was thinking about it, so I don't find it later. And we're going to do article body. Let me make sure I type that right. Yep. So article body. Put it in here. Put it in here. And then I'm going to create a new file. And we're just going to copy all this, because all we want is the text. Don't do the links. Don't do the read mores. Don't worry about spacing, because you're not going to need it. Just copy the text. This will take a really short amount of time. Text here. And do this. Let's do this. And do this. And none of that stuff's part of my article, so I don't need any of that. All right. And then I can go back and turn all this stuff on. Oh. back here. There we go. If you want to know a plugin that is, it's Web Developer and the Chrome plugins. Okay, so now I'm just going to delete all this extra spacing. I don't need it. And now I have my article body. If you are of the black hat nature, you can actually increase the page density of your content or the keyword density of your content by populating more keywords in there. Apologize. I wouldn't recommend that if you're doing it on a platform that you really care about, but in the short term, then I would say if it's worth it, the money, and you know it's a churn and burn site, then knock yourself out. But for the most part, that's really how you do the article body. So we've done that. We got article body. We got article section. Let's do backstory. I want to, where did we put that other stuff? Here it is, backstory. No, doesn't have to be. And then backstory could be creative work or text. So we're just going to do this. And it could be text. So let's go SEO this week, episode 160. Oops. Covers the news of today, including Google's May Core 2020 update. Notice that's not in my article, and it's not on the page. You won't see that on the page. How to write article schema and develop a schema template system for easy annual implementation on your SEO projects. Bam. Okay, so that's there. We got our closing quotations, and then it's a comma, so we'll put the comma back. Page end, page start, pagination, we don't need. Word count, we don't need. There is some other things in here you can add, is this creative work stuff. And you can do, what is the thing? The subject matter of the concert. We could actually plug that in there if we wanted to and do, I would do it underneath. So we got person type right here. You can copy this out, and I would copy it from here down to here to here. And copy that. It's not breaking anything. It's just something that's probably going to be broken for it. I know there's going to be something broke for it, but we're going to do creative work. I'll do this now. ID is going to be this. We can change this to about. I'm going down the line right here. So it's the things, the subject matter of the content. Search engine news, and then the abstract. So we want to do the abstract. So let's do abstract. Remember's cool. Abstract is essentially just a summary, right? We have abstracts as SEOs and some of our themes, and it's called the excerpt. So we're going to do that. And in access mode, the human sensory perceptual system calling a facility for which a person may receive the information. So we'll do, because I have this. I'm going to do that. So we're going to do access mode. And I can do actually 3 of those. So I can do visual, auditory, and what's the other one? Text on visual. Yeah, well, I am doing text on visual, right? On my video. So you're reading text on visual. So I got text on visual. I'm bring that down. Access mode. A list of significant access modes was expected to include auditory, tactile, textual, and visual. So we want to do that one too. Where is it? I lost it. Abstract mode. There it is. Access mode. Access mode. Sufficient. And this looks like a lot, people. And just remember, you're building a template. Once you do this, like it's for SEO this week, right? So all you really got to do is recopy that, the blog part, most and the abstract. Most of the stuff's going to all be the same every week, over and over again. So auditory, because it's got the auditory, textual, visual. All right, so that's their accessibility API without none, accessibility controls. We could look that up if we want to. I'm not really into it right now. Hasbro feeder, not really needing it. Accountable person, legally accountable for the creative work. Accountable person. And you are, or your client is, legally accountable for your creative work. So I'm going to put my name in there. Indicates license, indicates a page documenting how licenses can be purchased. Don't need that. Aggregate rating. Interesting. Do we put aggregate rating in there? I probably could. It's not going to do me any good. Alternative headline. That's going to be useful because I can do... you can add some keyword stuffs in here and actually put several of these. There's no limit to how many of those you put in as far as I can remember. But we're going to do episode so 160 SEO this week presented by Julia and SEO company. Check it out. Because it sprinkles some extra words in there, right? Digital leader and SEO company if we were trying to rank for that. Assess. Item being described as intended, blah, blah, blah. Outcome defined by the reference term. Assesses. You don't really need that. Media object, associated media. You can actually put, because I have a YouTube video on there, I can put associated media, go to the media object schema, and I'm not going to do it because I think we're running short on time. Go to the media object and kind of plug these in now and create another sub under this, right? So essentially when I say a sub under this, is this here. So description, alternative headline, and then it'll look like this. Media object. Oops. Screwed with my spacing. Media object. I don't need that. Well, I do, but not right in this moment. And then type is... Actually, I think I can do video. Go down here and look at the implementation. I haven't done media object in a while. Audio object. wonder if there's video object. Let me see. There it is, video object. This music group. Where's the video? Music recording. Video object. There you go. I can actually do this. Subject of. I don't think I need. Yeah, I do need that. I need that closing comment. And then I can put all the information for the YouTube video in here. And if I wanted to, I can go on the same line and get all crazy with the video object stuff too, actors, directors, and fill all that stuff in too. The point is here is go through and do this extra bit of work. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to me. You can do it right now in the questions box or reach out to me in the comments later. But go through here and do the work. Go to the Yoast website, rip their schema, use that tool I showed you. I'll show it one more time. It's Dirty Markup. It's 10bestdesign.com dirty markup. And then click the JS and paste it in there and click clean, just like I did it here. Rewind the video if you need to know it. And there's your starting template. It should be probably should be the starting template for all of your websites, regardless of whatever you're using. If you can find a Yoast that happens to have the local business turned on, the Yoast Pro local business functions turned on, go for it and pull that out too. It's mixed in there in the graph. The same with the Yoast WooCommerce. It's mixed in there with the graph already for you. So you find those and start off your template, and then go over and start just building out the sections of schema for you. The easiest one really for at the end of the day, especially if you've dealt with schema a little bit before and you just know it, is to start dinking around with the organization. You can build that out incredibly crazy, like a lot. Like I just did one for a project that I'm working on, and I was going to show it to you, but I decided that I'm not going to. That's my schema is well over 1,200 lines of code. And you see this line is one line. So if you think about it, there's 1,200 lines of code in the schema, and that's pretty much the organization schema. I didn't even get into the per page schema yet. So you can go crazy with it, and you can do a lot of good things and get your keywords in there and get your website recognized a lot better. And it's all in the head, and Google reads the head from top to bottom. No matter what's in it, Google's going to read the head. They might not read your entire website, but they are going to read the head. So if you put all the stuff in the head, you have a better chance of ranking and etc. So check that out. Optimize your article schema. If you have any questions, hit me up and make sure you sign up to whatranks.com so you can get the schema course. We'll actually go through and we'll build each one of these little things individually, the organizations and all that stuff up, and then we'll close it out with actually having a whole complete schema for either local business, affiliates, or e-commerce. No matter what you're doing, we'll have the schema, at least a template ready for you to go that you can plug in there, and you'll know how to read schema.org to get the most out of it. So with that being said, I don't see any questions in the question box in the chat. I'll give it a couple more seconds. Okay. Hopefully I explained all that clearly enough, and like why I'm, I don't want to beat a dead horse. And go here, find a new line, put it in there. Find a new line, put it in there. And when you're all done with that, you got to test it. And like I said before, the number one thing you're going to run into is the missing commas or the missing curly brackets. That testing tool has gotten a little bit better now, and we're actually pointing out to where it is, and you just got to figure out which one you forgot, the comma or the curly bracket. But for the most part, if you build a template just like I showed you, you're not going to have too many of those issues unless you did something like we did, where we added that whole the subject of and the video object. That might be a little bit more, risque in terms of finding the right lines or the right things to add the commas and the closing brackets. But for the most part, I think you're going to be okay. All right. There you go. And yep, comment from Nick makes your articles twice as long. Right. So like you said, if you're playing it straight, just put the content in there the way it is. If you're, you want to live dangerously for a little bit, you can drop some extra keywords in there, variations and entities, and make it even a little bit better, and double down on that. You know what I mean? So, and increase your keyword density. Okay. Hopefully you guys enjoy the new format. Hopefully you enjoy the new day and time. Thank you for watching SEO this week. This has been episode 160. I will see you next Monday.